Welcome to A Woman's Brew, where women talk about beer. Today, we are asking you to like and subscribe as we talk to Unbarred about a very special collaboration with BarthHaas X, Emma Inch, Dan Phillips, and a little podcast called A Woman's Brew. I'm Joanne, and with my co-host Tori, we are two beer-loving women on a mission to get more people drinking and talking about great beer. Come join us! Alright, we are at Unbarred. Hello!
Hello!
Hey.
This is almost everyone's second visit to the podcast. You came but didn't record last time, didn't you, Brett?
Possibly, yes.
Yeah. I think you popped on and then you popped back off again.
Yes, you did.
It's
I think.
Ian and Jordan's second time on the podcast.
How
Welcome
about that?
back.
We liked it so
And
much.
we're actually here at the brewery, at the tap room. We're brewing a beer today.
Yeah.
So we'd like to talk to you about why we're brewing this beer.
I should have got like the label art.
Yeah.
To be like label art, but it's over there.
Brewing today. Whose idea was it to do this crazy brew that we're doing?
I think loosely my concept on this one.
It was yours, yeah.
Yeah, so an idea of sort of, well, it was sort of a loose idea from me of people helping people, with the idea of different people from different sort of social medias helping to promote a brewery, and a brewery helping to promote the social medias, which was, I say, a very loose concept, and then brought together by the team at Unbarred that went, that is a very loose concept. We think there's something there, and then sort of brought more into fruition by this team.
Yeah. Yeah, no, we just evolved it, didn't we? Started chatting about it. I think Ian was like, I know this won't make any sense, but I've got an idea.
That sounds about normal.
And we unravelled it.
Opened it up a bit, and, well, you know, how to look at it differently. I don't think we've ever done a collab like this. We've normally done collabs with mostly breweries or people that supply ingredients. So I think this is the first time that we thought outside the box and embraced it from a different angle of who loves and promotes craft beer and why do they do what they do, and how can we use all our different skill sets to come together, such as you could jump more on a brew day and dig out a mash tun and enjoy some beers and pizza. And yeah, I mean, Brett's marketing manager, I mean, from socials, Brett, what have you learnt already?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we were saying earlier, isn't it? Like, I think it's a big circle of people supporting each other. So without beer, that all the people who love beer wouldn't have beer, and then without those people loving it and promoting it, there's lots of other people who wouldn't know about it and then wouldn't be buying our beer. So, you know, then BarthHaas X, obviously, are big supporters and have helped on the brew day you've been down. Like, I think it's a great way to like promote in a full circle and just like support everyone in a full circle. And like we were saying earlier, then bringing in like some bottle shops or pubs and bars, if that's what we want to do to kind of launch it. We're then supporting some of our local community, our local pubs, and like, you know, getting people down to those to make sure people are drinking in those and they keep going. So
I think that's it. I mean, it's been such a tough time for everybody over the last few years, and I think some of the social media artists have had a chance to hone some of their skills during lockdown, where maybe some people had a bit of extra time. But it's really nice if everybody can give back in every different way.
Yeah.
And yeah, so if we can push it out to some of the local shops and push it onto some platforms where people might not have heard it. I was out with Dan, 1 Minute Beer Reviews, in Manchester, and it's incredible. People sat in the Fierce bar telling him how they've not drank craft beer before until he popped up on TikTok, and you're like, well, that's great. That's that's what this should be about. That's what the whole industry should be about.
I mean, that's definitely why we started the podcast, because we wanted to support the breweries that we enjoyed and, you know, support our local bottle shops and things like that. Like, that's one of the reasons that we started.
Yeah, we wanted to be able to be like, okay, well, like we've had opportunities where people are like, oh, we'll just like send you beer. We're like, oh no, but can you just let us buy it? And like people are like, oh, well, I'll still buy it. And then if you do give us extra, fine. But like that's not for us. It was like we wanted to be able to support. It felt more genuine for us to be able to be like, let me support you, because we really value like the kind of the beers that you're making and the stuff that you guys do, and like bringing attention to breweries that are like doing these absolute killer stuff, and they're doing like all the right things in terms of like the social side of it and the community side of it, and it's wanting to do, like you said, with bottle shops, breweries, all that. So
there's a big difference there as well. I think Jordan's probably seen a lot of it. When I was at Wild Weather, working with you guys was an absolute dream. There was another guy from Bristol that sort of emailed that just said, I'm travelling around, would you give us 15 minutes of your time? Yeah, not a problem at all. And we had a lovely chat with him, and he left with a bit of beer. But it's the ones that come out outright and go, I've got 15 subscribers and I expect 48 cans of beer to put you on the channel, and you go, lovely.
Here's my deck.
That's never like for us anyways, like that's not the expectation. Like for us, we're like, we want to be able to like bring people, feel like, Unbarred, people know who Unbarred are. That's not, we're not always the people that are like, let's find this brewery no one's ever heard of. But equally, it's like, if it is a smaller brewery that people haven't heard of, we're like, great. And if it is a bigger brewery that someone's just maybe not as into craft, but they've found us through another medium, and then they start listening and they're like, I've never heard this brewery and that sounds really nice. And, if we can do that, like that is something that I don't know, I feel like we're really quite passionate about that as well. So it was like, to be invited here to do this was like, thank you, it's super cool to be able to be like, especially because like we'd had you on before.
Absolutely.
And like, so I had the beers on the podcast like so many times before, so it was really cool.
So have you two been down here before?
I've not been to Unbarred.
No,
it's the first time.
Probably hasn't.
We recorded online.
So you haven't had a game of Toads?
You did?
Yeah, we had a game of Toads, no. Joe came down, I didn't get down.
With my dad. We'd ordered some beers, and I was here for something else, and I said to Brett, can I pop in and collect them? He's like, yeah, just come and collect them. I forgot it was a Monday that they were closed. So I got down, I was like, I can't get in. He's like, just come through the brewery. So it's me and my dad squeezing through the brewery, because they have not got a lot of space.
So what you're basically saying is you were knocking on the door going, excuse me, do you not
me,
know who I am?
Well, we got into it, like, my dad and I
couldn't find my car.
Chatting to George, and my dad was like, this is the kind of thing you do all the time, isn't it? I was like, yeah. Squeezing past them all in.
People know me.
And they know you. I was like, yeah, they do, yeah.
Meanwhile, I'm like the opposite side of the spectrum, and people are like, hi, and I'm like, hey, and then like, I was like, I can't believe they knew who I was, I can't believe they knew. I'm like, no one knows. Either people are like, I've seen you somewhere. I was like, have you? Where have you seen me? But yeah, no, so the recipe-wise, like, whose idea was it? Was it like a collaboration across you all about what type of beer?
Yeah, I mean, NEPA being, for the last 3 years, I would say, is probably the most heavily drunk style. I mean, IPA has always been king since I've been a home brewer. It's the most drunk style, the gateway drug to craft beer. And so we've used our base beer that is pretty much like we've used for Dank Juice and some bigger hoppy hazies. And
Dank Juice was amazing.
Thank you. We're doing a Danker Juice in January.
I had that this year when it came out.
I was coming back.
I was at Matt's Tasted at Elusive.
Yeah.
And I ended up buying a can to take home because I was like, this is so good. But I drove here and I could only have a little sip of it, and I wanted more of it.
So yeah, load more of that coming January. We're doing a Danker with the terpenes from cannabis in the beer as well. But coming back to the base of this, and then working with BarthHaas X, really wanted to work with some of the products we haven't used before, such as Brew 1, which we've actually been playing with, making hot water with lemons and limes today as well. But yeah, Ian, what innovating products have we worked with?
Yeah, well, it's I mean, the more we speak to a lot of breweries, the more you find out people have different problems. And largely, I think Unbarred are lucky in that your biggest problem is that you can't produce enough beer. And so, we've got products like Spectrum that can help them produce more beer on that side of things. So it made absolutely perfect sense to go, well, let's work together on a beer that can really show what Spectrum can do as a liquid hop product that can potentially give you more yield. Let's find where that would really shine in something that you do that would also really help it to shine, and then we can look at going forward how that helps everybody really, whether it be a platform for the just a platform that we can show off and go, look, this is how it's done, or whether it's you getting more beer out of the end, going, oh yeah, maybe in the future.
And that's our lowest possible yields will be on a big hazy. It's always just a hop absorption. So this liquid, and then we've got Looper Max that we're going to dry up with, which should help us get our bang for buck. So yeah, be interesting to see how, compared to Dank Juice, this comes out with yield as well. So
yeah, I mean, I was speaking to Gary earlier. We were saying we reckon for a 25 kilo dry hop, the way we've done it this way round, we would say roughly you should get back on the lower end of the scale. You should get back about the very low end of the scale, about 250 litres of liquid. So,
jeez, okay, yeah.
He says. Hopefully.
He says, yeah.
That's his bold, isn't it?
Ben captured, that doesn't happen. Don't hold anyone liable.
Can we do another take? You can get at least 40 litres back.
Swap out to the right one. And who came up with the name Like and Subscribe? I'm going to get the piss ripped out of me for this. I just
Why?
already goes influencer. And I'm like me, I go, I'm in the background and I just have a feeling people are going to go, look at you.
I think we were all throwing ideas in. I don't think one person could take the credit for that, but then we all agreed Like and Subscribe sort of hits the concept beautifully, and then I don't even think that was the name of the beer. We were talking about sort of concepts in the project.
And I think that just came up, and then that kind of stuck, and everyone was like, oh yeah, let's go with that. And then we took that and shared it with our designer Tom, who then came back with a cool design of
I love the label.
Yeah,
kind of emojis and stuff, which kind of captures the essence of social media, doesn't it? Really,
the design.
You know exactly what that little emoji is and the like button.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it is a really good representation. The name and that all work together like so well.
Oh, brilliant!
It's going to be a really great label for sure. I can't wait for people to see it. So, yeah, I think once it comes out, we'll grab some cans and then maybe we can have like another follow-up sort of tasting of it.
For sure.
And
We'll measure that yield and see if we've got
If
to
we
it.
do
and then we can come back and we can accountable.
Check we've got enough of the beer.
And if we do it via Zoom, I won't log off straight away.
For anyone that's listening to this, if you've been on our show before and you hear us say it's because one person one time just said bye and hung up, that would be Ian.
Now fixed in our housekeeping. Yes. Don't just hang up at the end.
No, it's brilliant. It's been a really, really good day, so thank you guys for having us.
Thanks for
been
coming
really
down.
fun.
It's been great engagement.
And cannot wait for it to come out and check it out. Everyone's gonna have to check it out after this. And any final comments for this session?
No, toodles.
He's done the IRL guy. It's like, oh, bye.
Right, we're having some technical issues, but we'll get there eventually with this one. I don't think we've ever had this many people in our Riverside studio before, so maybe that's why it is. Also, if you're watching the video, you notice that Tori isn't here because she's not very well. But I am joined by many people to replace her. Though obviously we can't replace the lovely Tori Powell. We have got Ian from BarthHaas X. We've got Dan from 1 Minute Beer Reviews. We've got Emma Inch. And we have all of the people from Unbarred. We've got Jordan, Matt, and Brett. Hello, everybody. Welcome.
How we doing?
Hello.
Hello.
Now, a few of you have been here before. This is not your first rodeo on a Women's Brew the podcast, for various different reasons. But Dan and Emma, it's your first time, so thank you for coming. We're very pleased to have you.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. We are very excited to all be here for one beer. Now, while we were having technical difficulties, I think everybody cracked theirs. I think I'm the only person that hasn't got this open now. We have Like and Subscribe, which we all brewed with Unbarred. I'm going to crack mine open. Does someone from Unbarred want to tell us about this beer and why it's so special and why you asked us reprobates to come and brew it with you?
Isn't it?
It's a Jordan question.
I wanted to see you come scored on that one. What? Great. I can't take full credit. I very happily evolved an offer from Ian, and if Ian makes an offer, you can't say no to Ian, can you?
It's true.
So yeah, we wanted to do a collab, wanted to create something wonderful with all the gorgeous types of hops and hop products that BarthHaas produce and sell, and we wanted to evolve it. So, Ian, would you like to say how you started the thought process, and I'll take it from there.
Yeah, so I've sort of been thinking a while. Like we try and with BarthHaas, we always try and do like little collabs here and there. Um, and I think my thoughts have always been on collabs is that people get bored of sort of the expected collab out of people. So like, why should a BarthHaas collab be the hop people go to a place that does well with hops and makes a hoppy thing? I mean, ultimately that is at the core of what we've done here, but we padded it out around a little bit. Um, so my sort of thoughts were, why don't we look at it slightly differently? Take something that I'm really passionate about, which is social media in all its forms, and sort of a group ethos of being able to help each other out, and then push that side of things. So I sort of came up with the idea of why can't we take um, a brewery, somebody that's got a good YouTube following, a good podcast following, and a good sort of TikTok following, and see if each separate part of it can help each other out along the way. Um, and I sort of babbled that to Jordan, and he made the mistake of taking me seriously.
Fool.
Yeah, it was definitely something we could evolve. So it was okay. Let's try something a bit different. Think outside the box. How do we all communicate and talk about beer now? How do we share ideas? And well, let's get in touch with people that we know really believe in craft beer and are great supporters of our community in all their different formats. So I met wonderful Dan up at Manchester Craft Beer Festival last year, and learnt the wonderful world of TikTok, which I didn't know enough about. So he's massively got me into that world. Um, Emma, who I don't think we can see at the moment, but hopefully is there. She's been a long friend of myself and the brewery for a long time, and is in the Guild of Beer Writers and a great spokesperson for our community. And obviously, you know who you are, Joe.
I would assume that if people are listening to us, they know a little bit about me, but maybe not.
So how can we talk about a beer and just embrace what's wonderful about what we do?
It is a delicious beer, I will point out now. It's basically pineapple juice.
I think I think if you want a description of a beer and you want it done quickly, we should really hand that over to the man that does descriptions of beers quickly, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we should actually. That's cue for you, Dan.
Go on, Brett.
You're quicker. You're quicker than me, mate. You keep them to a minute.
God, don't tell the missus that, will you? But no, I won't lie to you guys. I tried it on Saturday. So this is my second time trying it, albeit I am stone cold sober right now. I did get to start off with a little bit of like a dry sort of grape sort of refreshment first, and then it just burst into just pure tropical fruit. Slightly grapefruity sort of bitterness, but it's just pineapple juice, as Joe says. And for me as well, because I saw I went into it because I basically brewed it single handedly. There's loads of oats in it, loads of oats in it. It's made it like a really nice, smooth sort of mouthfeel. So it's beer of the year, guys. That's all I'm saying. And this is to you lot. So cheers and well done.
Can you tell us what it was like on your first brew day, and what it is now like to try the beer that you helped brew? Because you did.
I honestly didn't have a clue what to expect. You know, when Ian got in touch and made me an offer I couldn't refuse, Ian, aka the Hop Father, um, I honestly had no idea that I was going to come down, meet a load of really, really, really cool people, and basically not do an awful lot, and just start drinking at 10 a.m. Have some really nice pizza at 12:30, and then bugger off to a pub at 4. You know, I had no idea that's pretty much what it was. But I do have a bit of a sort of, I don't know. I mean, like I said, I love craft beer anyway, and I really do respect the sort of time that goes into it and the actual art form that it is. But actually, to speaking to Gary, for example, and how knowledgeable he was, and just watching the way it actually goes from the mash tun to the kettle to putting the hops in and stuff like that, and it's like I can really kind of actually taste the oats in it because I saw them with my own eyes. You know, I can tell it's got all these different hop combinations in it because I watched them go in with my own eyes, sort of thing, and it just makes it. It makes me feel quite proud actually that I was part of it. I say I'd love to do another one. I'm still getting over mashing out, so yeah. Honestly, I salute you guys for doing it every day. No way. Love to come back. Really would. It was brilliant. It was absolutely brilliant. After the birth of his son, it was the best day of my life, and I've been married for 12 years.
Just the point of A, the power of social media, and B, first brew days. The reason I got into this whole working in craft beer mess was actually Jordan's fault. I'm pretty sure I've told this story a few times. Actually, probably the last time I was on your podcast show, to be honest. But
Probably.
I actually had an unbarred beer for the first time. I got it from a pretty legendary shop in London called Ghostwile. I was so blown away by it that I actually dropped Unbarred a message on Instagram, and after a few messages, Jordan actually invited me to brew with him, and this was back when you were kind of your missing link days, Jordan, so years ago now. And that was my first brew day, and that was through the power of social media. And then I got the bug, and I said to Jordan, I love this. This is great. So I spent $2,000 on a piece of kit to brew, and after 4 brews, gave up because I'm terrible at it. I thought, right, marketing. This isn't. I can't brew, so there's another way to get in. So yeah, this is all Jordan's fault.
Emma, what was your first experience of brewing?
Well, I homebrewed many years ago as a student, so in the late 80s, early 90s, which was utterly disastrous, and it was before you could get any. There wasn't the internet or anything to get good advice about brewing. And then I started again when my daughter was born, so nearly 11 years ago. Started again home brewing, and I wanted to know a bit more about it, particularly writing about beer, and I wanted to really get to grips with how to brew. So I did a course at what's it called, General Certificate in Brewing at the I want to say IBC. Is that right?
IBD.
IBD.
Yeah.
IBD. And so I was doing that, and I just emailed a couple of random breweries asking if I could go for a brew day and get my head around it. And I went to Bedlam Brewery, who sadly are no longer with us. But I went there and, really sort of, caught the bug about brewing. But Jordan, I've also brewed with Jordan. I brewed with Jordan in his shed. So in the very early days of Unbarred. And we brewed probably one of the first New England IPAs I'd kind of come across. We were both kind of there looking at this recipe that Jordan had created, going, "What? You don't put any hops in at the beginning? What the hell's that about? What? How's this going to work? What on earth is it going to taste like?" And and both being really kind of confused about the whole thing. And there are some photos of me in the most enormous rubber gloves I've ever worn, digging out the little mash in Jordan's shed. So. And then Jordan ended up being. I used to have a podcast called Fermentation, Beer and Brewing, and Jordan was my most frequent guest on that. I think you came on the show about 4 or 5 times, Jordan, with various bits of news. You'd pop up. I don't think anybody knew it was just because we were friends, and you brew really good beer.
slacking. This is only the second time you've been on this one, Jordan.
I'll get about, yeah.
He's a serial podcast guest. Watch him.
Nah, Emma from Mirakai is our one. She pops back whenever she can.
Okay.
She's holding the record at the minute.
Yep.
Might start a podcast and invite you on it, Jordan, if you fancy it, mate.
He's always up for a podcast.
Roll me out, mate.
But this is the community, right? Like, this is the thing that this beer is about, is building this community and how we get it all out there. Like, I just started this as someone that drank beer and enjoyed it and was just like, I kind of want to talk about it with other people and see what happens. And then we've been able to showcase these amazing breweries and what they're doing, and then they ask us along to brew beer, she says in air quotes, drinking beer at 10 o'clock in the morning and eating pizza. Best hospitality, thank you very much. It's that synchronicity between the two is what one of the things that I really love about the beer community.
Well, it's worth saying, Joe. I mean, I was on the podcast. Mid 2020, something like that. It feels like a long time ago.
Like 21, I think. You were one of our first guests.
Early
I think.
21, yeah. And then from there, sort of like me and you spoke a bit on Facebook. I spoke a bit with Tori. So when you applied for BarthHaas X, even though we'd not met each other formally in person, when you came into the office, I was like, "Oh, it's Joe. Hello."
Right. They said actually, but the weekend before I started, he was like, "Good luck. I'll see you in the office." It was really nice.
I think it's quite funny as well how people think that the people like us don't speak to each other, or we're in competition or something. We all want to watch each other succeed. And on TikTok especially, there is a lot of people in my arena who will buy a beer and open it and drink it and, talk about it, that sort of thing. And you get the odd fly-by-night person who joins and literally drinks everything in the supermarket, and then because there's none left, they don't upload ever again. And then you get people who really do get into it, and then they start. I mean, I've been tagged in comments on. There's a guy I know called Kai who is from Manchester originally, but he lives in Somerset. And somebody tagged me, but he basically said, his 1 minute beer review from Aldi or something like that. I thought it was quite funny actually. And so did Kai. So I was down in Somerset anyway. So I'm like, "Hiya mate, you free?" And you're going, "Yeah, let's go have a beer." So we went to Topsham Brewery in Exeter, and you can reply to you can reply to a comment with a video. So it starts off with him with a pint glass, and all of a sudden he cheers for somebody. The camera pans around, it's me, swig, put it down, and it basically just went to see we do speak. We are quite a close sort of community. We do speak about where did you get that from? Got it from here. Oh, great, you got your hookups for it? Yeah, I have. And then you see their video, and it's like brilliant. I helped them get that beer, and likewise, I'll go out and say to people, "Where'd you get hold of that? Oh, I can send you one." Brilliant, and they do, and vice versa. We're always doing it. So yeah, I think it's quite.
All the world it is as well. I released 3 videos. I think 3 or 4 videos under Roll for Shandy, and they didn't have huge amounts of viewers. But literally the second video I released, somebody commented, "Go, oh, you should work with 1 minute beer review. That'd be a great collaboration." I was like, if only I knew him.
Yeah.
I think that's really reflective of the beer industry itself. Though, I'm going to use a lot of air quotes tonight, I think. Air quotes, the breweries are in competition. They're not really. Everyone's working together. You're all kind of sharing information. It wasn't until after COVID and the beer festival started up again that I, as a consumer, really understood how important beer festivals are for brewers to meet one another and share information and build those relationships and the collaborations and things. The beer industry is as collaborative as the community is, which is why this works so well.
Well, if we don't all talk, then
subscribe each other.
If we don't all talk, then Brew IPAs might come back again.
I like a Brew IPA. I'm going to put it out there. I like a Brew IPA.
Can I put it out there as well to say that more breweries need to brew a cold IPA as well? I love cold IPAs.
Do you like a cold IPA?
Yeah, I love them.
Well, the Unbarred one was the best I've ever had. Yeah.
The Unbarred was the first one. It was the first one I ever had. It was released at 8. I think it was 8.4%.
Not just dry hop lagers. Who cares?
Well, it was
Is it a good
8.4%,
beer?
and it drank like it was 5, and I swigged it off in about 8 minutes, and couldn't understand why I couldn't string a sentence together after it.
Dangerous, wasn't it?
It was lovely. Oh, it was brilliant. Got me well into them.
I was going to say actually, we've talking about the festivals of the community and opportunities like this, but it's the one thing. And I was talking to Matt about this earlier today. When you end up working in something you're so passionate about, is the opportunity to go and meet people and remember why you got into it, because you can be so head down, arse up, excuse the expression,
Yeah.
of what I need to get done now and planning ahead, and you're very much, you know, at full pace. And then when you get the opportunity to come along and talk about it, and someone asks you about your first love of a beer, or you meet other people that have shared that moment of just the classic balance of a lager, and you're sharing those exciting moments, is like, oh, it's really refreshing. This is why I'm into it. And yeah, again, that was the importance of working with people that really care about what we do in our community, to share something and do it with integrity. Because number one, it's a passion, and then number two, most of us are fortunate enough that we've been able to work in it as well.
I think I find other people in the industry help keep you sane, right? Because it's a tough
Yeah.
job for those of us who work in it. And sometimes just being able to pick up the phone and speak to another brewer or someone else who's doing events, or see someone at festivals that looks as haggard and tired as you,
It's true.
you think, yeah, we do it because we love
Or falling asleep in a hammock, Matt. Do you know anyone who's done that?
I know a lot of people that have fallen asleep in a hammock. I may
Oh,
have
well, okay,
just
okay.
messaged Mash Gang today to let them know that the hammock will be available for them this week.
Surely Mash Gang have got no excuse. If you're getting drunk on
Right.
0% lager,
Right. It's tiring pouring pints, Ian. Even if they're 0.5%.
it is interesting though what Jordan's saying. Like, and I used to get asked all the time when I was at Wild Weather, because we did quite a lot of collabs. Sadly, never with Unbarred, but that was down to other reasons, I believe. But that was but we used to get asked all the time, "Who's your favourite collab?" And it's just not a. It was never anything that we could ever answer, because it was like, well, actually, everybody we collab with were lovely people, and even if you try and break it down to, oh, this day was great because of this, or this day was great because of this, every day was spectacular for a different days, whether it be something you learned or just how much you laughed or what have you. There was just, and I think that just speaks volumes for the community.
Yeah. Jordan, how do you go about, other than Ian coming up with crazy ideas and approaching you, how do you normally come up with kind of your collabs? Like, do you approach people? Do they approach you?
Oh, it's it's I think I've been describing it amongst the team. It's like going on a date, or if you like someone but you don't know if they like you,
Yes.
and you don't want to go straight in with a kiss. It's very much the same politics.
Yeah, I totally get
of how
that.
you approach it. I mean, first step is, have a chat. You might be in the same place, come here often, you're at a festival. Then you might exchange a couple of drinks. I like each other's drinks, that that is pretty much the analogy. The other thing is, we've been doing it for quite a few years. Next year, believe it or not, from the shed will be our 10th anniversary.
Wow.
Although we've had
Congratulations.
the thank you, we've had the brewery. I've been 100% working for Unbarred only since 2019. It's always been from the shed whilst brewing elsewhere and being a head brewer elsewhere, etc. So it's only since 2019 that's happened. And I've had a huge amount of collabs, and it's been very important, especially at the beginning. How do you spread your message as quick as you can, and how do you spread it to a new audience that may not have heard of you? So you might want to target breweries further afield at the beginning, Through lockdown, and big part to our brand has been, side of our cans it says made of Brighton. So there's a culture, there's an attitude, there's an openness, but working with other creatives. So we've worked with record labels and did the first peel off label for a record label, which was the liner notes of the vinyl. We've worked with Bird and Blend, that's a tea company. They started in Brighton in their flat, making their own cups of tea with different flavors and challenging what tea is like. They're like the sort of omnipolos of the tea world. So it was really just on that creative point, our brands really aligned. So I think now we don't do as many collabs. I think once a month's the maximum we do now, whereas before it was just unlimited. But now I feel it's more important for us to do collabs that really aligned with our brands, whether it's complementary to the style that we do. I'm very openly, and some brewers have said it to us, you do stuff that we haven't tried or we don't know, we haven't done that yet, so it'd be really great just to share that experience and learn from each other. So that's a lovely thing, and it was quite interesting. I did a talk for the Brighton Chamber, which is loads of local businesses, and they asked me to come do a talk on why collaboration is great, because we're one of the rarest communities that actually collaborate with a competitor. And it was a lot of people couldn't understand, why would I share anything with those guys? We're competing against each other. We're showing the power of what you can do if you do something together. So
It's so
yeah,
funny when you find
interesting.
somebody in the industry that doesn't.
Yeah.
There was again at Wild Weather. There was another brewery within 100 miles, let's say, just to not narrow it down too much. That would refuse to fill their growlers refused to fill anybody else's growlers with their beer, saying that it would reflect badly on their beer if it was in somebody else's growlers. Not from a health standpoint that they couldn't rinse it out or anything like that, but just because somebody else's branding would be on their beer. We used to get people coming in going, "Do you know that I couldn't fill it up here?" And I'm like, "Well, we can't ask them to do it.
Yeah.
It's a thing, but it is such a rarity that people don't want to be open and share recipes, ideas, different brewing techniques, because it all helps. It all helps the final destination of everybody making good beer. I think we're so lucky now that pretty much every brewery makes great beer. Some better than others, Jordan, obviously.
Obviously.
Yeah, the competition's great, and bring it on. Absolutely love it. If a new brewery starts up opposite, great. Need to borrow a bag of malt, fine. Got no problem with that at all, because at the end of the day, we're all trying to make the craft market bigger, and we can't do it if we're not working together for that. So yeah, I'm all for it for sure.
And there's space for everyone. I think there's space for everybody's beers. There's such a we always say this on a women's brew. If you don't think you like beer, it's because you haven't tried the right one yet. Because there's so many different ones, so there's room for all the different breweries that bring all the different things to the table. And having done a few collaborations now, we were just saying in our birthday episode last week that when we first started, someone asking us to brew with them was like, oh my goodness, what was I going to go brew with an actual brewery? And we never thought it would happen again. And now this is our 7th beer, I think, with the brewery. And that just, you go into these breweries and they've got a slightly different setup of their kit, or it's the same kit as that brewery you were just on, but they do this slightly differently, and this one needs to use these types of ingredients to make it work, or you need to do this sort of thing. And it's you learn something new every time, so why wouldn't you want to share that knowledge with other people?
It's like here in Manchester, you've got on the same trading estate, you've got Cloudwater, Track, and Shore Shop,
Yeah,
all in the same estate, and probably three of the most sort of well-known craft breweries in the UK. They're pretty much in every single bottle shop. Yeah, it's they do.
Who's your favourite, Dan?
Not Shore Shop. Not Shore Shop. Probably Track, actually, because I prefer the tap room.
You were supposed to say Unbarred. You missed that one.
Oh, no.
No, Trip North, I meant. Trip North.
What our cars water track and show shop? Unbarred, obviously.
It's a positive thing, though, isn't it? When you got those 3 breweries in one state.
Yeah, that was great.
Mm.
When we
makes
did
it a
the
destination.
festival up there, we got to go to all the tap rooms.
Yeah.
Kids in sweet shops. So we had a whole festival with God knows how many breweries. But then could go around all the tap rooms as well. It's amazing, great scene.
Yeah,
I think
it's
now
really
Amazing
that
food.
now the balance are there, that makes a real nice mix.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Yeah,
to try out their tap room.
they're brewing a house pale, I think, for a pub I go into quite a bit in Altrincham. So yeah, it's good to see. It's good to see. It is, and I think recently they had some thing where you go get a card stamp. You have to get a stamp from all 4 breweries, and then you bring it back and you got money off something or a free pint or something. But yeah, like I say, there is room for everybody.
Cool.
There really is.
A rising tide raises all boats. Is that right? Is that what they call it? Yeah. So when you've got more breweries in a place, more people will go, more customers will hopefully make a trip out that way to come and explore what you've got. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Do you see
And that
much of
kinda goes back
a sort of Brighton beer mileage with Loud Shirt and Brighton Beer, and then you guys? Do you see many people sort of doing that trek?
Not specifically, no. I mean, when we first opened in 2019, we collabed with every brewery in Brighton and on the outskirts as well, and Loud Shirt were one of them, but they've been taken over or been bought out by someone else, and I hear he's a lovely guy. I've not met him yet. Brighton Beer, know the guys very well. We still help each other out bags of yeast and hops. But it is quite weird with Brighton if you're a local. Doing that journey in one day is a big deal, and even we're on the beach, going all the way past Brighton Station, that's a long walk. It's 15, 20 minutes, but it people don't seem to go that far in an evening. So you'll go to one, whereas the breweries you've mentioned are what we would call East Brighton, and we're more Central Brighton. Somehow that's very far. But there is a hill.
Tell me about it. I discovered that firsthand, and it nearly killed me. So there we go.
But I think with Brighton, it's quite a different city to Manchester or a lot of other cities in the north. I mean, it's much smaller for a start, but also it doesn't have that industrial heritage. So there isn't that sort of industrial real estate. It's very hard to get, as Jordan knows very well. It's very hard to get industrial real estate in the centre of town. So although I would say Brighton has a fantastic beer scene, often it's not just based around the tap rooms, it's the pubs. So we've got a brilliant pub scene. We're a city of leisure and holiday and fun. So our pubs are pretty good, I think. I think we've got a really nice selection of pubs, and I think definitely people do those kind of tours around, the sort of 5 or 10 really good beery pubs, taking in Unbarred on the way kind of thing, or if you're up the other end, taking in those 2 breweries as well. So I think it tends to be pub based rather than tap room based. So I don't know if the other guys from Brighton agree with me.
You can almost, as you exit one pub, you can already see the next one you're heading to. It's pretty incredible.
We got so many good pubs as well around Brighton.
Yeah.
Have you got some recommendations for people who haven't been to Brighton on where they should go?
Well, you only need to stumble out the station to find the Evening Star.
What a boozer that is.
What a boozer that is. They've got a sister pub, Brick, which is further over into sort of on the border of Brighton and Hove, which focuses a lot on kind of Czech and German lager styles, plus some other stuff. And then Hole in the Wall is a really cute little venue. That's really nice. The Watchmakers over in Hove. Because again, we don't have many micropubs because property is so expensive here, and there isn't sort of empty properties, where people can develop micropubs. And also the licensing laws quite strict as well in terms of opening up new venues. So, but yeah, we've got a nice little roots. I love the Prince Albert as well. I like the Basket Maker. Still has a real fond place in my heart. Of being a really trad pub, really nice, welcoming pub. So yeah, and because Brighton people don't walk very far, as Jordan said. That's why I'm always shocked when I go to London. People say, "Oh, we've got a tube station really near us." I'm like, it's 20 minutes walk away. What are you on about? Like, I could get across town in that time. So all the pubs I've mentioned, you could walk to very easily. You could easily put yourself together a little crawl, and be busy for 2 or 3 days. I think crawling around the pubs of Brighton.
I do like that there's like these little hubs now coming together of really good venues that are sharing really good beers. And it doesn't have to be craft beer, it can be traditional beer as
Exactly,
well.
yeah.
Good beer is good beer.
Exactly.
Well, I know Ian's got his dinner waiting for him behind him. So the beer we're releasing this the day before the beer launch. It's launching around the country, I believe. What places can people find, like, and subscribe?
Well, hopefully all good bottle shops, and we're currently just working on confirming some venues, but I think Matt's got the Hive on board who are going to be pouring it. We'll have somewhere in Brighton, of course, our tap room will have it pouring from Tuesday the 10th, and it will be just kind of going far and wide from that date. And our web shop, of course, you can grab cans.
Excellent.
I know Hector and Jones have confirmed this evening that they're going to go for it. Maybe you can cut this out if they don't, but a hockey place and maybe no. There's going to be some places that have got it. I'm hoping that hockey place and Maidenhead do, because it means that me and Ian can get drunk on the Tuesday, and then I can go to the Hive on the Saturday and do it all again.
Nice.
Because it's a delicious beer.
It's really good.
I said, when I tried it, I said, if you want something doing properly, do it yourself.
There you go. See, that's it. Now you've got the bug. You're going to be brewing all the time.
That's it.
You're going to start doing homebrew content.
Well, the thing is, though, I did a bit of homebrew years ago and completely destroyed my kitchen. So maybe not. We'll see. We'll see if she lets me get away with it. But yeah.
You watch, mate. Now that you've released a video on TikTok that says that you've done a collab, you're gonna get an influx of people going, "Oh, can we do a collab?"
As long as they get me a pint at 10:30 and provide pizza for lunch, I'm in.
Not all collabs are as good as that.
That's exactly that. That's like that. They need to look after us as well as Jordan and Brett looks after us, and Matt, of course.
All right. Well, thank you for coming, everybody. It's been wonderful having you all. I'm going to go around each and see if there's anything you want to plug. Unbarred, as a collective, is there anything you'd like to plug other than everyone needs to go out and buy, like, and subscribe?
Yeah, just everyone go grab the beer on Tuesday the 10th. Yeah, next week. Well, it'll be tomorrow when you release this. So tomorrow, go and grab the beer.
Thanks everyone for having us on, and thanks for being involved with it. It's been great fun, more fun to be had.
Welcome. You're on the leaderboard now for multiple times being on the podcast.
Just a fun in general, I work for Unbarred now, but the story I said earlier, they were my favourite brewery. For a good reason, because the beers are incredible. So, just a general plug for Unbarred. And then obviously look out for next year's anniversary. There's going to be some very exciting things coming up. That's going to be a good one.
Amazing. Emma, is there anything you would like to plug?
Yeah, so my new podcast, Same Again, which is on the tin. So it's a podcast about beer, pubs, and mental health. So, it's conversations I think need to be had in the industry, and hopefully we'll start talking about them. And the launch date of this beer actually happens to be World Mental Health Day as well.
Wow.
So
excellent.
It's probably a good time to kind of start just having those discussions about, the fact that excessive, those of us who've perhaps experienced anxiety or depression know that sometimes excessive alcohol consumption can have a impact on our mental health, a detrimental impact on our mental health. But perhaps we also know that pubs and bars and tap rooms can also make us feel much more connected to a community and have a positive effect on our well-being. So it's kind of that kind of balance that I'm juggling in that podcast, and you can find that on all podcast providers. And yeah, get stuck in and hopefully have a good listen.
Excellent. And Dan, what would you like to share?
I just want to say thank you to Unbarred and BarthHaas X for the invite to what was the best day of my life after the birth of my son.
Oh, mate.
I also
So
want to say
welcome.
it was an absolute pleasure to meet yourself, Joe, in Story, and you as well, Emma. It was brilliant to get your opinions on everything and to kind of get an insight into your socials and stuff like that. It really, really, really was a great day all round. I want everyone to go and buy the beer because it's beer of the year. It's brilliant. And follow me on Instagram and TikTok at 1 Minute Beer Review.
I will share everyone's links in the show notes so everyone can go and like and subscribe, everyone.
Oh,
and
yeah,
Ian,
what a
is there
segue that
anything you
was.
would like to plug?
No, just obviously I don't have any socials to follow or anything like that. For the brewers listening, of which I'm sure there are many of this podcast, you can find both myself and Joe at the Brewers Congress for a couple of days. It'll come, will be a week after this. It'd be lovely to see you all. Come across and talk beer. We're more than happy to. And big thank you to Jordan and the whole Unbarred staff for being just incredible, for making a great beer, and just for being good mates.
Thank you, mate.
Yeah, thank you so much. All right. Thanks, everyone, for coming. Let's go and finish this lovely beer.
Cheers.
Well, here is the beer. Here is like and subscribe. This can is now empty. This is all I've got left in my glass. When Tori's well again, she's going to really enjoy this. It is so pineapple-y. It's soft. Like, it's exactly what you'd expect from Unbarred. It is a beautiful dipper. Not usually my fave, but I've really enjoyed this. On the can, it's called a juice bomb. And if you get one of these cans, and if you're watching our video, you can see our logos on the can. We actually have a logo now. I don't know if we may have said this in one of our other episodes, but we realised we didn't have a logo, so we whipped one up, and that is on this can, along with Emma's podcast and Dan's 1 Minute Beer Reviews one. So go and find one of these beauts and enjoy it. And if you'd like to talk to us about collaboration, you can get hold of me at my beer school, which is Love Beer Learning. And we are on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, or X, TikTok and Pinterest, mostly on Instagram, so come and find me there. You can come to my website, which has had a little bit of a clean up. Come and have a look at that. And that is lovebeerlearning.co.uk. Or you can email me, lovebeerlearning@gmail.com. If you want to get hold of Tori, she is mostly on Instagram. Sometimes she's on TikTok. And she is adventures_in_hoptimism. Or you can email her, adventuresinhoptimism@gmail.com. And of course, if you'd like to get hold of us as a podcast, you can go to A Woman's Brew on Instagram and Facebook, and I think we are on X, but we don't really go there, so come find us on Instagram, or you can email us awomansbrewpodcast@gmail.com. I'm going to go finish the little bit of this beer because I'm all alone tonight. It is beautiful though, so do go find yourself some like and subscribe, and make sure you like and subscribe to all of our different channels. Cheers.